Good evening, everyone, and
Good
it's an
evening, Rohini.
absolute pleasure to be here. Welcome to all of you joining us online today. On behalf of Bangalore Titans Ladies Circle India 122, I'd like to extend my gratitude to Ladies Circle India for giving me an opportunity to curate this fundraiser and an HRD session about how to be a power parent. Heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors today. So we have Vijay Lakshmi Silks. Their silk sarees collection is exclusive, exquisite, and unique. Do check out their festive collection in Jayanagar, Richmond Road, and MG Road showrooms. We also have Yash Polymers. They are the trusted brand for all types of polymer manufacturing. Shivika Online Private Limited, a reputed brand for all online and telecom outsourcing requirements. Pillar 5, authorized distributor for St. Gobain gypsum plasters. All your contribution for this event will be spent towards community service. Please give yourself a pat on your back for giving back to the society. You are the handful today, and I'm so grateful to have met you all who have a heart to give back to the society. And in return, we're going to learn something very precious for our children and for ourselves. I welcome BTLC Chairperson and my dear friend Circler Aishwarya Talam to address us on this occasion. Ash, over to you.
Thank you so much for the lovely welcome, Rohini. I think you've said it all, but again, a very good afternoon to all of you present here. Thank you for supporting us raise funds for a wonderful cause that we will be identifying real soon. And let's all be the power parent that we want to be, thanks to Pavni ma'am. Over to you, Rohini.
Thank you so much, Ash. Let's welcome Mrs. Pavni KN, who is our keynote speaker today. We are thankful for her gesture to conduct this workshops absolutely free to LCI and support the cause. Thank you so much, Pavni ma'am. She has over 10 years of experience and is an ICF certified emotional energy coach, master spirit life coach, and the founder of Life Craft Success Hub. She is also a certified DMIT analyst, power parenting coach, and a meditation trainer. She is an explorer and life adventurist who has invested most of her time in understanding what gives a human being the power to return around an adversity into a celebration. More details are shared on the chat box. Kindly download the same and contact her if need be. Today, we choose to talk about power parenting. The pandemic, no doubt, has brought us all to a very unique phase of life where we got more family time. While we agree it's a blessing in disguise, it also has challenged parents to self introspect about their behavior and observe our level of child parent relationship quotient. And I'm sure all of us know what I'm talking about. Learning new techniques from a life coach is truly beneficial and is also a need of the hour. So, with no more delay, let's hear it from Mrs. Pavani KN herself.
Thank you, Rohini. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity and the wonderful introduction.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I'm glad to
So,
be amongst you today.
thank you so much, ma'am. Are you ready for the questions that's coming your way?
Sure, Rohini. It's all
All right.
yours.
The first question would be, what is power parenting? What are we going to do today and what are we going to learn?
Great. Power parenting is a very unique way of parenting, which is, uh, just give me a minute. I'll just share my slides. So, power parenting is for futuristic, scientific, and visionary parents. I wish all of you are such parents who wants to prepare their children for a future which is absolutely not known. It's not coming from the past experiences, but it is creating a future generation. That is what I call it, a power parenting. And I partner with Crackslab for my online power parenting program. So that's how they are also on the screen.
Wonderful, ma'am. It's such a pleasurable thing to know. Well, I was just thinking, why do you think it's important for us to understand our children's emotions? And also, we need to set a balance with emotions within ourselves as parents. We cannot, it's pretty challenging sometimes to maintain your emotions and also to understand the child's emotions. And would you just help us
You
understand
said
that?
you have the answer also in your question, Rohini. When you have to manage your child's emotions or understand your child's emotions, the first thing is you need to know your emotions. And a little bit, so this is the picture which I really love to call power parenting, supporting the child to grow the way the child is born in their unique ways. So first let us understand my objective of a power parent, how I look at parenting is it's a privilege to care for new life, a responsibility towards the future, and an opportunity to pay back to life itself. So when it comes to emotions, and you also should appreciate yourself that you are the nature's choice for your child. You are the chosen one. Because only you and only you can create their future or walk them into their future, what they're born for. So all of you pat your backs for that.
Um,
Yeah. So how to manage emotions? Rohini, that was your questions, right?
yes.
So emotions is a huge, huge subject, but it is very integral to all of us. The best way to manage the emotion of your child is to empathize with your child. Empathize with the child's feelings. If the child is, say, 6 years old and the mother is some 35-year-old, if you look at his problem as a 35-year-old, it looks very trivial. You cannot deal with it. But you have to relate to his emotion as a 6-year-old, as a 3-year-old, as a 15-year-old. Then you automatically can be with the child and show them what next to do. Does that answer your question? You want me to elaborate more on that?
Yes, it does. But I would like to quote an example here so that
Sure,
most of
sure.
us can probably relate to what you said better on behalf of all the parents here. So, say if you have to pick a scenario for that matter, imagine you are on a very important client call and your child is throwing tantrums. And at that point, it gets very frustrating as an adult, and maybe at that moment we do not know how to deal with it, and I think most of us land up raising our voice, or I think in the previous generations they even would probably give one or two. I don't know how many of us would want to do that in today's life, but yeah, I've probably seen parents lose their temper because they're on an important business discussion or anything, and you have to suddenly deal with your child's tantrums. So I'm sure pandemic has given all of us at least one such scenario, ma'am. So if this is a scenario, what would be your suggestion?
So can I ask you a question here?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
So when you cannot learn parenting when the child is throwing tantrums.
Okay.
So why does a child throw tantrum when you have a important event? Is because child knows that's the weakest time you ever have, and you will give in to him or her, right? So you are showing your child your weaker emotions more often than your stronger emotions.
Okay.
So if your child knows, come what may, mom is not going to give in to what I ask, because um, she knows what is right and wrong. And this preparation has to happen pre-session. It is not on the go. So how you present yourself in front of your child over a period of time gives the child that attitude about you or that respect about you. So if we are not being the same at all times, and if we are giving in sometimes, if we are getting manipulated, you are allowing your child to manipulate. So the power of parenting is not with you, but your child is holding that power against you. So
That's a wonderful response, ma'am. Yeah, I think I totally agree with you.
So please have the power in your hand how you want to parent your child than your child dictating terms how he should be parented.
All right. Okay. Do we have more slides from your side, ma'am, so that we can read a little bit of content?
Content. I'm not a content person. I'm a picture person. You ask me. So, how do you understand your child's emotions? Here you see a picture of rain. But let us see how each one of us can feel about it. This person is feeling very grim about it. Here, this lady is feeling very excited about it. And somebody else is feeling very thankful. Rain is one, reactions are different. So, emotions are like that. And what makes the difference is what is your background? What is your context of looking at a particular situation? Similarly, your parenting also needs to have a context. So that sets the tone for you and your child to have the interactions and bond and relate to each other and respect each other. So when I was parenting, my background was to enable them for a future where whether I am there or not, they should be independent for themselves. So that was my context. So every action, every interaction, everything I guided them was towards that. For some people, it could be about making a big business, making their dreams fulfill, making the child's dreams big. So it all depends. So you all can take a couple of minutes to understand what is your end goal of being a parent. That makes a whole difference. Define your role as a parent. If you have paper and pen, you can actually do it now. What is the context that you want to create to be a parent? What is the result that you want at the end of, say, 18 years, 20 years, 25 years of your parenting? What is the result that you want to see? For everything, we need goal, right? Without goal, we are all over the place. So just before starting this session, I was watching Discovery or some travel on the TV. So there a cat was trying to hunt a pigeon. There were 1,000 pigeons sitting there and the cat went there very, very precisely thinking that it will catch one, but it could not. All the pigeons flew away. But later there was one pigeon which was isolated. The cat went and caught it very easily. That's how important the goals are. So for everything, you have set goals, right? For your work, for your personal growth, everything. So I would invite all of you to set a goal. What do you want to achieve in your parenting? So that will set the whole style of parenting, all the interactions.
And I would also request the attendees to use the chat box. If you're open to share your viewpoints, please use the chat box, and we can have it more interactive. We could probably take one of your examples and have a talk on it as well, isn't it, Pavni ma'am?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Any parent who would want to put up their wish for the child down the line of few years, please use the chat box and make a note so we can read that and probably talk a little bit more about that. So while others type, I would probably, talk for my child. And as a parent, Pavni ma'am, for me, all that matters is he being a very responsible human being tomorrow and stay happy. I believe in happy people give happiness, and happiness just multiplies and the world would become a happy place for everybody. So
Wonderful.
yeah, I don't usually worry too much of his academics or, putting him to too many classes. I just like to see him laugh, smile, and grow to be a little, yeah, of course, responsibility and discipline is something that I want to bring in. Yeah, so what do you want to say about a mom like me? I do
So,
get a little bit
how
of
do
a
you
pressure.
yeah, how do you define making him responsible? What
Well,
are
for me, ma'am, when I'm in the kitchen, I have a son who is 5.5 years old. His name is Naksh, for others to know. And I do not differentiate any work to be low or big or anything. I mean, I just get him involved to do any kind of work at home. It can be sweeping, mopping. Today he made a salad and whatever he wants to. And sometimes when we go out in a group, I see my son, if it's a play area, I'm talking about like these smalls have
got it?
these play areas. So
Got it.
whenever I've taken him from the age of 2.5, I'm observing all that he does is leaves all the bikes, lights, everything. He just goes to his kitchen set and sits there for 1 hour and cooks. That's all he wants to do. And I just let him be and, probably teach him how to use cutleries better so that he doesn't hurt himself and how nicely he can serve people. So whatever knowledge I have, I kind of transfer it to him and let him be. And for me, that is being
Yeah,
responsible and disciplined. It's not a very big thing, but I feel small things matter more.
you're very right, Rohini. Small things do matter. And also, you understanding his natural talent also is very important. I think it runs for him in his blood. The cutlery and the kitchen, right? Cooking cutlery
Yes,
and all, from the grandfather to the mom and to the
absolutely.
grandson. So, responsibility, how you teach for your children, in my opinion, is slightly different. If I have permission, I would want to say that.
Got it.
Responsibility is allowing your child to make a decision for themselves and understand the consequences, experience the consequences. It could be a small thing or a big thing. We generally tell them what is good and what is bad, how it should be done and how it should not be done. Say cooking or salad, you are there with him. You will tell him how it should be cut. This is the way it has to be cut according to this recipe, things like that. But you can also think about letting his creativity flow. He wants
Okay.
to make a salad, let him do it his way. He need not copy some recipe which is already there on YouTube or somewhere else. And that is also fine. If it tastes good, it tastes good. It doesn't taste good, it is still doesn't taste good. And let the child and the family accept it that way, rather than trying to fit him into something which is already existing.
Okay.
That is where is his responsibility. He wants, you want to say buy him Nike shoes. He goes to the shop, but he doesn't like Nike. He likes something else. So he goes and picks up that. Allow him to buy it. Let him experience. Let him wear both the shoes and try it out. And if he still wants to buy what he wants to buy, let him buy it. The consequences, whether it is comfortable, not comfortable, when he is walking, he might find comfortable, but when he is trekking, he might not find it comfortable tomorrow. So he will tell you, Mom, this is not very good for trekking. This was only good for walking. So maybe next time I should buy something else. So you don't have to tell them, you just have to expose them to the things. So
Thank
if they start making those small decisions for themselves and take responsibility there, this is my decision. So when you are dealing with him also, you can tell him, okay, this was your choice. So next time, maybe we will figure out how you want to buy. Generally,
Got it.
what would be the natural response for you if he says the shoes is not working out for my trekking? What would you say?
Well, I think when it comes to shopping, I just let him be. But for me, a takeaway is to let him be creative in the kitchen. Usually I poke my nose. I will tell, cut it in the right, it should be of the same size. And I have like 10,000 instructions to make a salad for him, poor thing.
And
I think
finally, yeah, and finally you label that he did it, right?
yes,
That's
I
the
think for
saddest
me, a
part.
takeaway definitely is to be non-judgmental and let him be creative. Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, because shopping is okay and cooking is important, so you interfere into that. And
Yes.
maybe somebody else like me, maybe they will say, oh, you did this, you only bought this shoes. Now, bukto. It is your problem. It is comfortable, not comfortable, it's your problem. So the
Right.
next time when the child is trying to make a choice, they are not very sure. Oh, maybe I don't know how to make the right choice. So let me depend on somebody.
Okay.
That is how responsibility becomes dependency.
Okay. Got that. I hope everyone else in the room
Any
are happy
question?
with the response. I have few questions, ma'am. Do we want to keep this to the end or do you want to visit it now?
As you feel, Rohini, it's all, I'm okay with anything.
Okay, so well, can we keep the question and answer at the end? And in case we are not able to answer all your questions, our friend Cindy is making a note of it, and we will, get back with the answers in a couple of days. Post it on the WhatsApp group for everyone else who's posting questions. Thanks for being interactive. We will probably not to, just with the interest of time, I do not want to deviate from the agenda. I'm going to get the questions at the last. And Cindy, I request you again to make note of all the questions. If we can't answer it now, we will get back to everybody. So, ma'am, next question for you is, can you please share 3 top tips to follow for being a power parent?
Okay, before going there, I would want to uh, share this with you all. I don't know how many of you all know Khalil Gibran. He's a poet and
Yes.
he's a Lebanese poet, 1 century, 1.5 centuries ago. It was 1960s, 1860s, okay? This is what he writes about children. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, a tomorrow which we don't know. So, here I would invite all the parents to understand that let us not teach our children something that is tomorrow which we don't know how it happens. How do we know our children? Somebody can answer this?
I would request everyone to use the reaction. Raise your hands. If you wish to speak, we will unmute you. You could raise the hands and Cindy will help us
A
identify
couple of
the
couple of
speaker.
you can tell me how do you know your children? How do you decide what is good or bad for them?
So Santosh says, keep listening to them.
Keep listening to them.
Any other viewpoints, parents?
Okay. So let me
Kanika says, from our expression. Cindy says, normally I just keep them
by
away from harm.
our experiences. Okay.
Normally I just keep them away from harm. That's what Cindy says.
Very good. So how do we know them is by understanding them from how they laugh. Oh, my child laughs like my uncle, or he's stubborn like my aunt, or she's loving like my mom, or somebody is tactful like my grandfather, or somebody is good at dancing like somebody, right? We keep fitting them into our already known understanding. Do we do this or not? That is how we understand people, right? We try to fit people into what we already know. So that is what happens is Oh, 1 minute, some problem.
Yeah, that's quite true. In fact, I think the day the baby is born itself, I've seen a lot of, relatives who come and first thing they want to say is, "Hey, the baby's nose look like the father, the eyes looks like the mother," and if even we don't do it, I think the
So that's how,
society, yeah,
yeah, we
yeah,
all do it. So the
we all have
baby,
experienced that. I think,
so
yeah.
we box them in different cartons with different ideas. That teachers also tell them the same thing. So the child asks you, do you really know me? Do you really know who I am? What I need? So I just leave you all with this question. Rohini, you can go ahead with your next question.
Yes, I think, ma'am, I just had one question. Like, I want to have this three mantra that I want to learn from you today. Uh, what would be the three top tips to follow as a parent?
3 top tips to follow the parenting. So let me just give you some more idea about how we parent generally and how. So what happens to the child in the box? This child is labeled as most obedient and acceptable child who got fitted into the box. And the child who is trying to come out of the box, what do we call them? A difficult child or a rebel child. Can we recognize this? And the challenge here is, why do we do that? Is because every child has unique potential, learning nature, mental abilities, strengths and skill sets. And they are so different, they're so unique. But we tend to miss out on that because we don't know how to understand that. It's never too late. Know your child's uniqueness. This is one of the things, Rohini, the 3 tips you asked me. So it's never too late. Know your child's uniqueness, know your child's natural strengths, nurture his nature, support him with activities to develop their cognitive abilities. When your thinking is good, you don't get overwhelmed by your emotions. We all have emotions, but the person who can manage emotions is also rational. So they have the balance between the logical thinking and the emotional thinking. So they balance out between the two. So emotions naturally happen. Thinking is something we need to train ourselves into. And what stops? I work with a lot of successful adults. What are the most important blocks that I see in people successful yet they're very discontent within themselves is they are exposed to a lot of abuse as children. Either they are abused emotionally, physically, sexually, or they have faced neglect, and that is what the backlog they carry for a long time in their life. If as parents we can protect them from this, that will be the biggest contribution towards our children. Very well-to-do families, educated families, I work with people with those backgrounds, and many people, 80% of the clients have this backlog. It's not a small thing. So if we can protect our children from that, that will be a great help for them. Parenting is basically giving them the emotional warmth, ensuring safety, giving the basic care, make them feel stable, and they know their boundaries, what is socially acceptable, not acceptable, how you don't create problems for others, and you give them guidance and then stimulate their intellect, stimulate their learning. You just have to invest in 3 things, parents: protect them, know their nature and nurture them, and enable them by developing their cognitive abilities. Like we give a lot of importance to physical growth, we depend on schools alone for cognitive development. Schools curriculum has some limitations because of the pressure the teachers have and the schools have. Nothing against the schooling I'm talking, but as parenting, emotional growth, and also overall development of child is something that we need to look. I hope I answered you, Rohini.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, actually, you're leaving me with a lot of thoughts and more questions. That's not, that's just coming up after seeing the slides, especially about physical and mental abuse. We do read a lot about this in the newspapers, and is there? I mean, I really feel hurt to know that young kids go through abuse. As parents, how can we have a dialogue and introduce them to this, because it's sensitive? And if I need to speak to a 5-year-old or I mean, a small child, it's, I think most of us would be like, how do we have a dialogue like this? Because it's sensitive. So, is there a way that we can learn from you?
Yes, it is very simple. Allow your child to talk anything. Don't set boundaries between the parent and the child. The child should be able to speak about anything possible. But if we say, like, when they're saying something, you stop them. This is not the time. I am busy right now. Or this is very trivial. Let it go. Forget about it. So he might or she might come and talk about some friend uh, taking away their pencil or a book, or snatching something away from them. Very simple. You would have said that is very simple, forget it. So the child, what is the impression that you're creating to the child?
It's okay to do
It's
something like
okay,
that.
somebody can snatch away something from you. It's okay, you be the big brother or a big sister, and let it go. So tomorrow somebody comes and touches them inappropriately. Do you think they will come to you?
I doubt so.
Yeah, that is the point. So keep the communication channels open. And there are instances where children come and report, but because the abuser is from the family itself, parents shy away. Parents snub the child, not addressing the issue. And I am dealing with such children who are now at 35, 40, 45, still having those scars. And not everybody comes to a coach, right? So there are many, many people who are behind the screens. So
I'm
just have
sure.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, channels open for communication.
Yeah, I think it's also important as adults we talk about these things with our peers and families and make it okay, right? Like I
Yeah,
think Cindy is just kind of messaging that, especially about things we have never spoken about with our parents, like girlfriend, boyfriend, sex, periods,
yes,
emotions.
yes.
So yeah, I think we need to kind of open up and be more welcoming for topics like this to be a normal discussion at home. It could,
Exactly. Don't
yeah,
make
yeah.
make it a very serious thing. Not make it like should I talk to about it or not talk about. Don't create those hesitation about subjects. Yeah, they should know when to talk, when not to talk. Not in a social forum, like when the whole family is there, the child cannot come and talk about something very personal. So that boundaries you still define, but when only parents are there, at least one of the parents should be their confidant, that they can talk anything and get away. They can speak their emotions openly. That happens only when you are able to speak your emotions freely with your children. Otherwise, it's not easy. If you are hiding, if you are manipulating, if you are hesitating to talk about things in front of your child, then the child knows, okay, it is not okay to talk about everything to everybody, including mom or dad. So even if you don't want to talk certain things, don't make it obvious that this is that you're not going to talk in front of your child.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of things we don't want to discuss in front of our children because they don't understand. So don't make it obvious. we are discussing something, you go away. Or this is not the time that you will be here, we have something serious to discuss. So the child thinks, okay, there are secrets. The secrets to be kept. So we are actually giving them the signals not to talk, not to discuss. There are secrets to be hold, all these things.
Yeah, I think, ma'am, I think this also kind of brings my mind to another, a question, because parents of this generation, like say, I would probably call, everybody in this forum more or less are in the age group of 30 to 40, maybe most of us. Now we become, a generation who's seen something totally different, and we are transitioning as human beings and accepting, and so it's a transition as human beings for us, and we are upskilling ourselves. And I feel most of few minutes ago that as adults we have a lot of scars in us. Until that is cured, I think somewhere we are not doing justice as parents ourselves, isn't it? I mean, is it a
Exactly.
right thing to say?
Yes, yes. You can't give what you don't have, Rohini. That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. I think
No,
I really feel I feel you also do coaching for
yeah.
parents and emotions,
Parents,
right?
adults, yes, yes. Adults, parents, children. I do. I cater to all age groups.
Okay, I think, yeah, I've come across recently topics, and a lot of chakra meditation, and healers talking about healing your childhood scars, like the childhood emotions. And once that is healed, I believe that there is a transformational change that happens to a
Yes.
human
So there
being.
are two
We
ways
look at.
that, yeah, there are two ways that you can deal with it. One is active emotional coaching, where we are talking like this. We have a
Right.
conversation. The other one is active energy coaching, where I just touch upon the topic and give different energy techniques for each of us to let go those old scars and emotions that are hindering our future. So that is where the two programs are different, but the results are still the same.
Yes, I think people who do not really believe in energies and things like that can always have a dialogue and discussion. And
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's brilliant that you have a solution for both kind of people, and the objective is one. At the end of the day, we want to bring a better world ahead of us.
Yeah. We need to be peaceful
Excellent.
for creating a better world.
Yes,
Otherwise, we'll
yes.
create more chaos outside.
Very true. Very true, ma'am. So I think I'll probably request, now it's 4:20, so I would want the Q&A to begin. And Cindy, I would request you to just read out questions. If I've missed out on anything in the chat box, please. All right, I think I'm going to scroll up till Cindy comes online with us. So
Cindy is around, maybe she's lost.
So someone, yeah, can you hear me?
yes,
Yes, Cindy,
Cindy,
we can
yeah,
hear
yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so one of the questions were, what kind of questions should we ask our children for them to grow?
It's a very broad question. Whoever has asked, can you just unmute and just give me a little more insight into it?
I think it was Paridhi.
Are you here, Paridhi? I think Paridhi is here.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was not able to unmute.
no worries. Yeah,
Yeah.
please go ahead, Paridhi. Let me know what is your question specifically.
So I have literally no idea. My son is like 4 years and 10 months now,
Okay.
and I don't know what to talk. Like elders say, you should speak to your kids for them to understand, things and for them to grow in life.
Exactly.
But I don't know what should I actually sit and talk to him. Like when I sit in front of him and I don't know, like I keep telling him, don't do this, you did this wrong, you should not supposed to do this. But at the end of the day, I'm not talking to him. I'm telling him not to do what was not required.
Exactly. Don't do is a very simple thing, but you never come up with a solution.
Yes.
The child needs a solution. If he
Yes.
knew what to do, he would have done. But if you just say that don't do this, then what to do? So he will go and do something else. And that also you would say don't do that. Then what to do? So create more opportunities for the child to do different things. Bring in lot of games. Games is something which stimulates their brains a lot. All areas of their brain start working when you give them puzzles. Even if it is a 4-year-old, there is nothing wrong. You can use a lot of puzzles, drawing sheets, colors, expose them to as many things as possible.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
can talk about whatever is his interest about. You can expose him to different things. Bring a book and just show one bird, talk about that bird. You may be talking what is there written in the book, but where your son can tell you 100 different stories about that bird. Listen to that.
Okay. So there's no gyan required as such for us to give to the kids. Like,
All the GAN we have is not helping us in any ways.
yeah.
Let us not bombard them with that useless stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, schools are going to give it.
Yeah.
Just expose them to different things,
Mhm.
different aspects of life.
Right, right. Thank you so
You
much,
can
ma'am.
just use a globe, make him
Okay.
understand what it is, where are we, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anything. Don't just go by the books. Let him
Mm-hmm.
learn from whatever is around you. Just talk about anything. You just pick up a pen and ask him to talk about it. What you know about pen and what your son knows about pen is very different. You will learn a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
You can just
Yeah.
ask him to talk about you. He
Mm-hmm.
will tell what you don't know about you.
Right, right. One thing you were saying, ma'am, like supposingly, a kid is snatching something from someone, we are like not supposed to tell, kid that you did this wrong. Uh, you're
No,
just speaking about it, like something relating to snatching that we say them not to do this.
no, no, no. There are two different subjects. When did I say though it is wrong is a choice of shoes. That is when I said, don't blame
Right.
them for the choice.
Okay.
So when somebody is snatching, you need to teach the child that if it is belongs to you, if you are willing to give, you should give. Don't let anybody snatch. It's not okay actually.
All right.
Then the child loses control over his own stuff, right?
Right, right,
Cannot
right.
hold, he cannot own his own stuff. He feels guilty tomorrow when he is not giving away things. Then
Mm-hmm.
he will be left with nothing.
So giving away is like giving away everything is not
Not worth, right?
not
It's never going to happen.
correct.
So yeah. So that is where please make your statements. What is it that you want to achieve at the end of the day, being a parent? How do you want your child to be? So you are designing your child over next 10 years, 20 years.
Correct, correct.
So
Sure.
whatever you promote for your child, that is what your child is going to accept. Your
All right.
voice becomes his inner voice. Remember that.
Excellent. I think it was a great explanation to Parithi's question, and I hope you're satisfied, Parithi. Otherwise, I'm going to share a number. You can have a one-on-one. We have the next question from Sujoti. Cindy, I request you to just unmute Sujoti Prasad, please.
Hi, ma'am. Hi, Rohini. Fantastic
Hi.
session. Thank you so much.
Hi, Sujati.
Hi,
Nice
ma'am.
to see you here. Yeah, please go ahead, Sujati.
Ma'am, so I'm going through a very different phase, I would say, because my son is 10 years old and by mind, I think he's way above his age. So I think he's already entering teenage, although his biological age doesn't say that he's the teenager yet. But I think I'm not very concerned about his questions, but behavior and sensitivity. There's a lot of things that change, in children. And with a boy who's extremely overstimulated and he has too much of knowledge. I mean, I used to tease him saying that, you are an encyclopedia. So I know at some point I am at fault because I introduced him to encyclopedia and I got him those fun fact books and all of that. So yeah, but somehow I feel that creativity is not there. That this overt knowledge of facts and figures has killed his creativity. So that is one perspective. And the other perspective is, I think, from a behavior point of view, a lot has changed. I don't know if it is because of this schooling, because of this online school, and not having the ability to go out and play with his own peer group. All of that, is that influencing him, or generally he's becoming like that? I don't know. So there are a lot of issues that we face day in and day out. So what do we do about that?
It is not one question, it is almost 4 5 questions you have put across. So the bottom line I understand is you find him little um, more bookish than practical. Do I get it that way? Okay. So the best way is to, because you have supported or you have encouraged him
Correct.
to be a bookworm, because you encouraged
Yeah, that's
that.
what I
So
feel.
yes. So you said that this is good for you and you appreciated every time he completed reading a book or completed
Right.
by hearting or giving you the information from that book. So the child learned that this is the way he gets recognized and appreciated. So now you need to change your way if you want him to change, if you want him to get more practical. So don't tell him what he is doing is wrong, because if you say that, he won't have a solution for that. So expose him to something which is more creative. Building blocks, even if he doesn't need anybody, he doesn't need any friends to do that. He can still be alone and do that. In this pandemic, you can't expect him to go out and play with students yet, friends yet. Sujati, I think we have lost her. Sujati, you are there with us?
Yeah, she's there only. She's just muting herself because there's
Okay,
noise over there.
right. So expose him to something more creative where he is not with the books all the time, and keep appreciating more than what you appreciated with the books. So he will find a balance. Hope you got the answer, Sujati. Thank you.
Cindy, do we have another
Yeah.
question?
Another question by Pariti itself is, should we have screen time for kids or not? She feels that it's not necessary, but it seems like her kid will lag behind if they do not know anything about the current superheroes and the other things. But if the answer is yes, she asks, what should we let them watch?
Okay. See, whether it is yes or no, and everything in parenting is something evolves between the mother and the child, or the father, both the parents and the child. No two people are the same. We are all unique, right? So the relationship between us and our children is also very unique, and it evolves over a period of time. So don't go by the books. Don't go by what are the set norms. Okay, there is nothing normal. What is your normal and what is my normal aren't the same thing. But there has to be a balance. The child has to know what is happening current. Otherwise they won't get friends. They will be outcast. So you need to find a balance. You need to find a balance about that. If you want, I think this is something very, very niche that we need to discuss in person, Pardi. You may want to make an appointment and we can discuss on this. Is that okay?
Sure, we'll help her connect with you post the session, Pavni ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Parvi.
So, Pavni ma'am, I was just, I'm now curious to know about the courses, so the coaching schedules that you usually have for others. If you can just throw some light, what are these coaching? What would be the duration of these?
For children
You know?
programs, the parenting program or the ones which we work with kids is a long-term one, Rohini, because it is not something that we can do it in a day or two. Coaching for adults is different and coaching for kids is very different. So let me take you through this. Um, this is the program we have. Okay, let me, yeah. All of us want our children to be successful, right? So it is not the scores, it is not money, it's not the family background, or not, none of it is a factor. The science behind successful people is they are smart, they have a smart mindset, they're talented learners, and they begin early in their field of natural ability, and they are self-confident. So the parents' role here is only to bring in that self-confidence and train them in their natural abilities. So we have, what we do is we help the parents understand we what is their natural ability of your child, where is it, what needs to be trained, and how the complete cognitive capacity is, you can enhance it so that the child becomes focused and their dynamic IQ increases and the decision making ability increases. They become creative. They find that balance between being creative and being rational, and we help them develop their natural or learning nature. We use the three learning natures we have: see and learn, listen and learn, and do and learn, right? So depending on whatever is their natural ability, we teach them. We help them do their activities. We help the parents. Earlier, we used to have the children in our own setup, where our trainers used to actually train the kids. But now with the pandemic, we have this online platform. So we help them with the entire thinking process. All these areas are taken care of in the training, which is very personalized for each child, and parents can take them through. We help the parents also do that, and these are our platforms, Unlock and Intellithon. So every child gets their personal tests done, and then the solutions are given based on their learning styles and their natural abilities. So this is how the assessment comes up with what are their inclinations, how much is their focus, what is the decision making ability today, what is the speed of learning, everything. And then each one gets their own personal dashboard, which we help them, the parents by themselves, they can take care of. Yeah, we do give them all these suggestions. Like somebody was asking, right, Paridhi, I suppose, what should they watch, what movies should they watch, what kind of cartoons they watch, what kind of books they should be exposed to, what kind of personal games they should be exposed to. Everything is given on the dashboard for the parents, and we support the parents how to manage their kids getting this. So I would request all of you to join the Moment of Power Parenting along with us.
Ma'am, I have a question. When you say a long-term course, is it like 1 year or 6 months?
Yeah, 1 year, minimum 1 year, Rohini.
Minimum 1 year.
Minimum
Okay.
1 year, and the coaching starts at when the child is 3 years old. So 3 to 8 years, we only work with the parents, and the testing also is assessment is also taken only by the parents, and after that the 50% of the assessment is taken by the child up to 13 years and 50% by the parent. Between 13 and 16, only the child is responsible.
Okay, so till 8-year-old, the child is not doing his or her own
Or
assessment.
assessment also. Yeah,
But how
parents,
do we know whether the parent are accurate
we guide
in
them. We guide them.
identifying?
Yeah,
You
we
guide
guide
them.
them. We guide them to observe what is what and all that. We actually
Okay.
handhold them even during the assessment. We are there with them.
Okay. That's very interesting to know. And I would really request you to share all the details in the WhatsApp group
Sure.
maybe later. So I think parents who would be interested to sign up would contact you directly, ma'am.
Thank you,
And
Rohini. Thank you so much.
thank you. Cindy, can I please request you to unmute Vijay GK? He had a question. Cindy, can you please unmute?
Yeah,
Vijay? Yeah.
yes,
Hi,
yes.
Vijay, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Vijay? Please tell me.
Good, good. Ma'am, just one small question. How to control the mobile timing, ma'am? I mean, if they're in long times in mobile, how to actually control that?
Give them something more interesting.
Okay.
We start giving them mobile at the age of
Parents,
6 months because we want to do our work. And at 6 years, when they don't want to leave it, we have a problem. Sorry if I'm wrong.
No, I think you are right because then slowly it becomes addiction to children.
Right. Yeah. Screen is addicted. We also get addicted. So many times we have to consciously put it off.
True.
Even when you're bored, you don't know what to do. You just take the phone or a laptop. You just keep on browsing, scrolling. Aimlessly we sit in front of them.
Yes.
So we can't blame the kids. We need to give them better options. Just go back and check the days when we were young, when we didn't have phones, we had so many physical activities.
Yes.
We need to get involved with the children to play those activities, have those activities running with them.
So I think for me, Vijay sir, I have observed one thing, though he's still young, whenever he's too much on the phone, I stop everything that I do, especially my laptop is off, my phone is off, and I sit next to him and I just tell, let's talk about something interesting. So the minute I say that, he leaves everything and he comes and sits next to me. And then slowly, we tend to pull out a puzzle or something. So if I think they are older children, they become more stubborn and adamant because the brain has already made its own decisions. So I'm too early to comment on that, ma'am. So
Yeah, what
with
you'd say,
teenage kids, I don't know how to handle.
you will learn. As your child grows, you will learn. He will teach you.
Yeah. Will
Actually,
it work as in for teenage kids? Does this work when you go and
it
say,
all
like,
depends on how you relate to your teenage kid, right? The
okay,
moment it is teenage, from 9 years, you are worried about, oh, my child is becoming a teenager. How do I handle? No, he's still your son.
yeah,
So if you are in good communication with them, if you're still listening to them, they will listen to you. The day you stop listening to them, the day you start becoming a bossy parent, that is when they will also turn rebel.
okay,
Like Santosh in the beginning itself said, listening is the key. You keep listening to your kid, they will listen to you.
okay,
They can be teenagers, they can be 25 years, still they will listen to you if you are willing to listen to them.
okay. That's a good thing to learn. Well, any other questions, or I think we could probably wrap up. We've kind of
No, there is a question
okay.
from Janvi. How to train our children to accustom themselves with competitions and comparisons?
Very interesting question.
The whole point of these unique programs that we run is to make the child comfortable with themselves, not worried about competition. Yes, there is competition, but if you are in your own, if you know your uniqueness, if you are working on with your strengths, competition will never bother you. If you are doing something passionately, then competition will never bother you. It can be a job, it can be your own enterprise. I can give you my own example. I'm an architect, and that was forced upon me. So I never enjoyed it. Any work I join, I would leave it in 6 months. So everybody around me thought that I'm good for nothing, I would do nothing. But when I chose coaching, 10 years, 12 years, I am a learner every day. Nobody needs to tell me to create programs or do my work. I just do it. So when it is your strength that you're using, when you are using your uniqueness in anything that you do, you will love it. Like Rohini was talking about cooking, cutlery, things like that. Nobody needs to teach her about it. So let us not be too much bothered about competition and or worried about what others are doing. If you're being your best version, nothing should bother you.
I'm sorry to say this, but I feel, ma'am, most of the time, more than the children being competitive, the parents are competitive. You know, we as parents try to compare or have this fear that, oh, my child's, rank is much lesser. We need to do a lot more to kind of. I feel we put that pressure before anyone else does. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think subconsciously, somewhere deep inside, we all want to show off that we are doing our work
No,
best
it
as
is not
parents.
about, I want to correct that. It's not about show off, Rohini. We think that the 6 subjects which are taught to you in the school are for you to give a basic knowledge about life and things that are around you to have a good living, good understanding about the globe, life, everything. But your profession has nothing to do with those 6 subjects, right? What you are
Right.
doing, what I am doing,
Yeah.
we have the basic understanding about things, but we are not directly using it. So if I'm not good in those 6 subjects, doesn't mean that I will not be able to do anything else in life. That's the fear we have. If you are not performing well in your school, means that you are not good for anything. That is the reason why we work on 8 intelligences and not just the IQ. That
Okay.
was a very before 70s 80s we were only checking IQ, but now today we look at the 8 natural intelligences we all have. So we try to develop all the 8 intelligences, or we see which is the best for, which is more strong for each child, and work on that.
Okay. So Cindy quotes an example. I think one of her friends left the WhatsApp group during her daughter's third standard exam so that the daughter comes first in class. Cindy, what was that?
That is the importance the parents are giving for academics.
Okay.
I think so. Am I right,
Yes,
Cindy?
yes, correct.
Right.
All right. Okay. So very interesting. Is there any other question that we could cover today, Cindy?
Um, any basic tips on how we can handle boys who need to be outside the house during the pandemic?
If it is specific pandemic, I am not a pandemic expert. I didn't really get the question probably. Can that be?
So basically, my son is quite energetic, and even though he has a sibling, and he prefers troubling her than doing other things. So, are there any basic tips that I can, make him do other than the normal helping me with the housework and helping me in the kitchen and stuff like that?
How young is the sibling? What is the age difference?
My son is 5, his sibling is 9.
Okay. So if the sibling 9-year-old is allowing him to do, it means that she is enjoying. So let them
No, no,
be.
then it goes into a fight.
Oh, you don't want them to fight, is it?
Yeah, I mean, not every time. Sometimes I just leave them just like that. But I thought maybe if there are some, tips to handle the energy that they are not able to vent out.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay, if it is a sibling problem, I would really want the siblings to handle it on their own, and they're the best ones to do. The more parents interfere, they lose their connection.
no, they are always together. They're always, with each other, playing and
Create
reading.
more activities between them, or for individually each one.
Yeah, that's what. So any individual activities, uh, probably, maybe I should go running with him down sometimes.
Maybe give him a cycle, a small cycle that he can do,
Hmm.
or maybe give him some building activities where he
Okay.
can be more creative. Probably he has some, or he can join some karate classes or something where he can be more centered also, and he is also using his physical energy well.
Hmm. Good idea.
Yeah.
So I can relate to Cindy really well when she said, about Keanu. Well, Naksh, Cindy, what I started doing is to allow him to climb the window bars. Actually, I told him to climb up the windows. So now he's developed a lot of core strength, and he can climb up the pole. I mean the railing or the road. So I call him a ninja. So he'll jump from the sofa to the bed, and he puts pillows, he'll make a tower, climb up, fall. So yeah, I do watch that he doesn't get hurt, but these things are fun for them. So I think you should try to tell Kiyono to climb up something.
Yeah, he's already climbed up all the windows, and my friends have already seen him from down also. So
That
that's
reminds me also, my daughter never used to walk on the floor. She used to walk from one furniture to another.
the cutest thing that we get to see
oh
as
yeah,
parents.
they have different ways of entertaining themselves. They
Right.
take all the cushions from the sofas and make this new show, something called Floor is Lava.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel that the floor is lava and they have to not walk on the floor, and they can
Okay.
walk on anything else except the floor.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, they keep themselves entertained, but I just wanted something that they keep his energy a
Yeah,
little
you can
up.
channelize his energy. That's not a problem, but don't go between them is one thing I would love to say. Because these
Agreed.
fights and the troubles they go with each other is the bonding they have for life.
Yes, agree.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we would probably, with that note, wrap up today's session. And I hope this has really helped a lot of us. So try to make it conversational so that it's more, I think it's fun to have a conversation than just,
Yes.
that's what Pavni ma'am also was comfortable when we had our first few discussions to do this show. And it was fun doing it with you, Pavni ma'am. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I would, like to request our Bangalore Titans Ladies Circle chairperson, Circular Aishwarya Talam, to say a few words, please.
Good evening. Wow, what a wonderful and interactive session that was. Yeah, so from screen time, from the setting the right example, being a parent, to how to what do I say? Cindy's example where Keanu has how do you channelize the child's energy? I think we pretty much covered a lot of topics here today. And yes, I've 100% got gist of most of the topics on how to handle it. Ma'am, thank you so much. I know I am going to be calling you a lot for a lot of one-on-ones to handle my teenage and my 8-year-old who wants to be a teenager. So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for guiding us, trying, today where even to ask out or reach out to help to anybody is looked down on to say you're there, you're a life coach, and you are going to help us out through parenting to go about the entire thing really well in a systematic way. It's what do I say? It's comforting that I know there is somebody who's just a call away to help me with what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. So thank you so much, ma'am, for guiding us throughout this half an hour, 1 hour in this session.
Thank you so much, Rohini, Aishwarya, Cindy, for supporting me and having me here. One of my passionate subjects to talk about parenting. And thank you for this opportunity. I also want to thank the Ladies Circle for hosting me here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Pavni ma'am. To the rest of you all, I would request not to exit the WhatsApp group immediately because we would love to share the recording in a couple of days. Also, I think we will try to compile the questions and answers in a document and send it out on a WhatsApp group. So people who've not got a chance to speak or want to re-refer to what has been discussed today, you could. We'll also be sharing Pavni ma'am's contact details on the group. So if anybody wants to have an individual session with her, please feel free to. For any other queries, and if anybody wants more such sessions, I'm just call away, contact me, and we will have more such sessions going forward. And thank you so much for your time, interest, and support. And it was a wonderful evening, very productive. Thanks so much, Pavni ma'am, for sharing
you
all
all.
the knowledge that you had.
Thank you. Anybody can reach out to me, and I'm quite approachable. So, yeah, we will.
Yes.
As Rohini said, we'll share my details there. Please do reach out to me anytime. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being very patient and interactive. You made this event a success. Thank you again.